We encourage all of our Revelation Massage employees to receive their own wellness services as well. We do this through providing 67% off all of their treatments, free session enhancements except for raindrop treatment. We also offer the opportunity for individuals to be able to receive Revelation dollars that are to be used towards services. So let's go ahead and start this off by giving you the opportunity to fill out your new client paperwork for all 3 of our services. I am going to be more thorough in explaining this paperwork for you today, simply because I want you to be aware of what to look for on the paperwork, both as a customer service specialist as well as a massage therapist, in order to help guide your conversations either in the outtake or at checkout with our guests. So first of all, contact information. It is important to collect the cell phone information, because once we have that information, we're able to send out text message reminders and confirmations, which does keep our no-show rate down. The next section is going to be health-related information. A couple of key areas of importance. Number 1, we are asking them, what kind of pressure do you prefer? This is really important because the number 1 complained about aspect of the whole entire spa industry is that the therapist pressure was not correct for them. So that's why we rate our therapists from mild to moderate to deep pressure, and that's also why we have this question here, so that as a therapist you can help make decisions on your pressure appropriately for them. We do our best to match up the clients with the pressure rating that they're interested in receiving. Every once in a while, it does simply come down to availability, but the majority of the time, we are making that correct match for them. We're also asking them, how often would you like to receive massage? Weekly, monthly, occasionally, and are you interested in the monthly membership plan? So CSS specifically, this also helps to guide your checkout conversations. So make sure you take a couple of moments to look at this. Are you interested in learning more information about flotation and infrared saunas? Very important. Now, this component, the health-related information, will be cut and pasted into the SOAP notes for the therapist before the therapist actually sees the client. We'll train the CSS on how to do that. However, for right now, it's important for you to know, therapists, that you will have access to this health-related information. Most of these are very commonly used questions on medical intakes for massage therapy, but these last 2 are kind of unique in that we do open our doors to individuals who have a current or past cancer diagnosis, and so it's important for you to know that you may be seeing a client with a current or past cancer diagnosis. If they have, then we are treating them as a human being who has certain symptoms, but very specifically, if they've had lymph node radiation or removal, then we need to make sure that we're using a pressure rating of 1s and 2s in that lymph node quadrant. So we'll talk about that more thoroughly with the trainer that you're working with today. You can take a couple of minutes to identify what the pressure really should feel like. It should be really the level of pressure you would use to apply moisturizer to your skin, and to also identify what quadrant really is defined as, either the neck quadrant, the armpit or axillary quadrant, as well as the quadrant around the groin, and what that would look like. Okay, so that is really the key kind of contraindication that we would be looking for with somebody who has had a cancer diagnosis, past or present, is the lymph node radiation or removal, so that we are not putting them at risk for lymphedema. Massage therapy is very indicated for past and current cancer diagnosis, and we'll put together a little training for continuing education for you that you can go through at your leisure later on in your employment with us. We are asking about pain levels. We're also offering them information that we do have a cancellation policy. We do ask them to turn off their cell phones, that the therapist pressure, again, we're addressing it a second time, that we are not doctors, we can't diagnose anything. And if somebody is bringing in a child at the age of 15 or under, that they do need to be present in the room. If they're 16 or 17, we do need them to come out, fill out the paperwork for permission, but they do not need to be in the room. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to fill out this paperwork, and then we'll go on to the next piece. So go ahead and grab the tablet that the trainer will be providing you in order to fill this out. The next paperwork we'll fill out will be the new client full spectrum infrared sauna paperwork. Again, we start with contact information, similar to massage therapy. The release of liability is a little more involved. We do ask that they check off that they understand the following terms. The use of drugs or alcohol prior to or during the sauna session may lead to dizziness and unconsciousness or bodily injury. Please contact and consult your physician if you're in doubt of your ability to use the Sunlight and full spectrum infrared sauna. No client under the age of 18 are permitted in the Sunlight and sauna unless accompanied by a supervising adult. Please discontinue use of the Sunlight and sauna if you feel lightheaded, dizzy, or heat exhausted. Sauna sessions should be limited to a maximum of 47 minutes. It is advised to drink plenty of water before and after your sauna session. Clients using any medication should consult a physician prior to the use of Sunlight and sauna. Pregnant women should not use the sauna. Clients with a medical history of circulatory system, including heart conditions, should consult a physician prior to the use of the sauna. So this is important for them to understand, as the use of the sauna is very safe for the majority of individuals, but these are just some of the important things to be aware of. Okay, so that will be the paperwork for you to be able to receive Sunlight and sauna. You'll fill out this paperwork followed by watching the introductory video, and then you'll be ready to experience Sunlight and sauna for yourself. We'll offer you the opportunity to be able to receive one free sauna session. So at the end of filling out this form and watching the video, you can certainly set up your free session time. Next, we'll go ahead and review the new client flotation therapy paperwork. Again, name, contact information, that's very similar. Have you ever experienced flotation therapy before? What are your wellness goals for today's float? Stress relief, meditation, athletic performance, pain relief, magnesium absorption. How often would you ideally like to float? Would you like to learn more about the membership? Also, are you interested in learning more about massage therapy and infrared saunas? Important policies and procedures. We review the cancellation policy as well as the cell phone policy. Also, the release of waiver of liability. These are very specific items that must be reviewed by the clients in order to go into the float. I must be able to enter and exit the float pod independently, meaning that I'm able to independently move to a seated position on the floor and stand back up again without assistance of tools or personal assistance. They need to check I agree. I will not use the float pods with oils, lotions, creams, or jewelry on my body, nor have I colored my hair or received a spray tan in the last 7 days. We do not want their coloration of their tan or their hair to leave a stain in the pod. I will not use the float pods if I have any communicable or infectious diseases or illnesses, skin disorder, large cuts, or open sores or wounds. I will not use the float pod if I'm under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I will not use the float pods if I'm an epileptic, unless, in the opinion of my physician, my epilepsy is under control so that I'm in sufficient control of my seizures not to endanger myself in the float pod. I will not use the float pods if I am taking powerful sedatives, have kidney problems, or schizophrenia. I will not use the float pods if I am pregnant before consulting with my physician and they clear me for use. Flotation can be a wonderful experience for a healthy pregnant mother, but it would be wise to check. I will not use the float pod if I suffer or have suffered from chronic heart disease unless, in the opinion of my physician, my chronic heart disease is under medical control so that I'm in sufficient safety to use the pod. I agree that if I am currently under medical treatment for any condition, that I'll consult with my doctor prior to use of the float pod. Although no one has ever drowned in a float pod, I understand that the float pod does contain 10 inches of water that can cause drowning. I further understand that the float pods use Epsom salt, chlorine, and a natural enzyme, and some people may experience skin allergies or reactions to such chemicals. In rare occasions, flotation causes nausea, dizziness, and rashes. These could be a sign of a kidney disorder and an inability to process magnesium. Should these symptoms occur, please stop use of the float pod and consult your doctor. I hereby agree that if I voluntarily or involuntarily soil or leave dye or oils in the float pod, that I will be required to pay the cost of cleaning and refilling the pod with salt, approximately $800 to $1,000, depending upon the price of salt. Upon using the float pod, I absolve Revelation Massage and its employees and agents from any and all liability in connection with the use thereof, whether such loss or damage is direct or indirect. I further agree to take responsibility for my thoughts and actions while floating. The waiver of the liability in all agreements made herein shall apply to each use of the float pod. Until clients are 18 years old, they are considered a minor. Therefore, we require parental approval before receiving services. Clients 15 years old or younger must have written permission to receive their first session, and a parent must be present in the treatment room for the entirety of the session. The clients between the ages of 16 and 17, we require written permission from the parent, and the parent must accompany the minor to fill out the approval form. Consent to treatment of minor by my signature below. I hereby authorize Revelation Massage to administer massage therapy to my child or dependent as they deem necessary. Now, that is a lot of scary information. Is flotation safe? Absolutely. But we certainly just want to make sure that any and all contraindications that a client may be aware of they're having are observed by this form.